Are you tired of your 9 to 5, of working with incompetent colleagues, or having to clock in, clock out, and your boss be bitching at you because you didn't do something right, or because you didn't get here on time, or some bullshit? And I was in your shoes 6 years ago when I quit Morgan Stanley. And I left it because of all the reasons I just stated. I hated having to clock in and clock out. I hated having to work with people I didn't want to work with. I hated having to deal with a boss I disliked. And I'm pretty sure he disliked me too. And I feel like a lot of us are in these positions a lot of the times, but we're scared to make a move to do what we really want to do because of the simple fact that we might fail, right? Welcome back to Winning Ways with Fred. My name is Federico and I am your host. Guys, today's special episode is going to talk to you guys about my journey into real estate and why I feel like it's important for young men and women, especially if you're starting off in life, to get into real estate right away. And I'm going to give you a couple reasons why. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly why it worked for me and why it's going to work for you as well, right? So when I started off my life after college, I went to Florida State, graduated Florida State December 20th, 2017. I went over to Tampa Bay where I got a job in Morgan Stanley. I thought I had the dream. I got a banking job. I was going to get my Series 7, Series 66, just like my parents wanted. And just like majority of my family told me, it was good that I should go into the route of becoming a financial analyst because, it's secure. It's a good job. It's good paying. It's going to pay you around $100,000 to $150,000 a year once you climb up the corporate ladder. And that's all good, right? Making six figures a year, working 9 to 5 and having weekends off is supposed to be the American dream, right? Well, fuck that. I'm not here to tell you that was not my dream. And after about 6 months of working at Morgan Stanley, after they stopped paying me overtime, because when I started working in Morgan Stanley, they were paying me overtime to go study at home and take practice tests to study for my Series 7. And so they were paying me overtime, and there was no one that really cared to check how many hours I was putting as overtime, and I was banking. I was making $6,000-$7,000 every 2 weeks. But once that ended, because I passed my tests, then my salary went to $1,500 every 2 weeks, which is the average salary, I feel like, in the United States. I was making $50,000 a year to start off after college, which is $1,500 every 2 weeks after taxes and all the expenses, right? And when that happened, something clicked into my head. And I knew I was meant for something much bigger, just like you probably know you're meant for something much bigger. Just like you're probably capable of doing much more than what you are already doing, but you're a little afraid to take that next step because you might fail, because people might judge you, because who the fuck knows? But you get scared, right? And that's human nature. And I'm here to tell you that it's never going to go away. Taking a chance into doing something that you've never done is scary, and it's always going to be scary, and it's supposed to be scary. Feels easy, everybody would do it, right? But you got to do it. And I did it. Going back to how I started in real estate, I took that jump. After noticing that I wasn't getting paid what I was worth, because I knew I could make a lot more money selling shit online or honestly selling phones. I used to work at AT&T. You get paid more commission because you work harder, or selling cars, or so be it. But I knew I wanted to take a route towards a business entrepreneurial route. And so I found real estate. I found a wholesaling brokerage that was completely commission based. So I went from making $1,500 every 2 weeks when I was highly in debt because I was leaving college, to taking a job that didn't give me salary, that depended only on me selling properties that I had no clue how to do. I had never done anything related to real estate, and I was jumping into real estate thinking and knowing, because I had the belief that I was going to succeed. Was it rough? Was it a pain in the ass? Did I suffer? Did I call my mom a couple times thinking I was going to fail? All of those things happened. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that it didn't happen, because it did happen. I was scared. Those first 3 months were brutal. I was honestly on the verge of going back home, because if I didn't make the money I needed to make, then I'd probably have to move back with my parents or figure some shit out. And so those 3 months were stressful. But guess what? I was in a position where I needed to succeed no matter what. I had no other options. I failed, and I would become, basically, in my definition, a failure, because I had to go back home, and I did not want that. At the time, that was my why. Get ahead and don't depend on your parents. You start your life independently. I did not want to depend on anyone. I am very independent. That's why I'm also an entrepreneur, because I hate being told what the fuck to do by anyone. If my girlfriend tells me to take out the garbage, my instinct is to not take out the garbage because she's telling me what to do. I know it sounds silly, but that's how I work. I'm very dependent. Very independent, not dependent. And I'm working on it, right? There's certain times where it's a little extreme, but at that time I knew I wanted to be independent and work for myself. So those 3 months in real estate taught me a lot. They taught me a lot, and this is exactly why I made this episode. Why you should start getting into real estate. And if you're young and you're getting started, or you're curious about how to get started in real estate to start investing, the best way to go about it is to start wholesaling real estate, because you're going to have to learn how to talk to sellers, how to talk to buyers, how to negotiate a deal, how to analyze a deal, how to close a deal, and every step from A to Z in the residential or commercial space. Once you grasp residential real estate, it's a lot easier to start climbing to the commercial real estate aspect of things and tying things together. And it's easier to learn once you get step A done, which is residential. And so that's what I did. 3 months of pure freaking grind. I think I've mentioned in this podcast a couple times. I used to wake up at 2 in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning, wake up, go post bandit sites. From those bandit sites, come back, work on my Instagram pages, then go to the brokerage, start cold calling all day, post a couple more bandit sites. My day started at 3 in the morning and ended at 9, 10 p.m. And I did that continuously for about 2 years. Did I miss a couple of days? Yes. I'm not saying I didn't miss any days. All right. Don't take it too serious here now. But what I do mean is the grind was real. It was 3 months of straight work. But those 3 freaking months changed my life for good. It showed me what I was capable of. In those 3 months, I sold only one house. But that one house for me meant the world because I figured it out. I figured the puzzle out. I figured how to get sellers, how to get buyers, how to find a deal, how to sell a deal, how to close the deal, how to get money in escrow, and all of the above. So to me, that was a win. Did I get a huge paycheck? I'll be honest, no. I made a couple $1,000s, but it was a W because I figured it out. And it was me putting myself against the wall, my back against the wall, going from this Morgan Stanley job that everybody praised and thought was the holy grail, and putting myself in a position where I had to grind. I had to put myself outside of my comfort zone and learn how to get into real estate and learn how to do everything in real estate. And I did. 3 months, I learned the ins and outs of real estate, the basics that you need right now to get started in 3 months. And it could have probably done in less time had I not been working on my Instagram pages at the time as well. I was building 2 businesses at the time, fresh from the ground, both real estate and my AF sports business. So at the time I was going half and half. But if you fully dedicate your time to real estate or to wholesaling or to investing in multifamilies, whatever the case may be, you're going to figure it out in less than a month, in less than 2 months, honestly, if you do this full time. And it's going to develop, not only is it going to develop your skills in learning how to analyze deals, which is huge, you're going to develop skills on how to communicate with sellers, with buyers, with investors that have funds, with investors that have millions of dollars of real estate that you don't. And you got to know how to speak to certain individuals. Because let's be honest, you're not going to speak to an investor that has 500 units in Florida the same way you're going to talk to a person that has 2 units. And I don't mean respect-wise, or I don't mean anything in a hierarchy that he's better than the guy with 2 units. But I mean that he has more experience. And he's been around the block a couple of times, and he has different types of connections that this other guy doesn't. So you got to learn how to pick up the cues and speak to certain types of people, certain types of way. And it comes all along when you're studying real estate, when you're working in wholesale brokerages, or you're cold calling, or doing what you do in real estate every day. Look, the journey in real estate, it's not easy. It's fucking long. You got to have the long-term outlook. You got to be patient. You got to be willing to put yourself outside of your comfort zone. Go to meetups, embarrass yourself, because there's going to be plenty of people that know more than you do, and you're going to start speaking about properties, and they're going to correct you, and you got to be okay with that. You gotta be able to take a punch, like I like to say, and get back up and correct your mistakes. That's what real estate's all about. That's what networking is all about, especially in real estate. Real estate is the industry that creates the most, yes, the most millionaires. And most billionaires own real estate. Why? Because it's ability to preserve wealth, it's ability to grow your income, to avoid taxes, to build relationships, to build businesses, to grow in life. That's what real estate's all about. Think about it. It's like Monopoly. You start off with one house, and that one house gets you hooked. Now you want a second. Now you want to make active income. Now you want to have a commercial real estate brokerage. Now you want to have everything if you're an ambitious person. But you got to start with step one, and that's getting into real estate, starting a wholesale brokerage. Google on your computer wholesale brokerages around my area, or DM me now if you're interested in learning how to wholesale. I actively do it. I teach people how to do this, and it's going excellent. You got to pay to play in any industry nowadays. And the best way to get ahead of life and get ahead of where you want to go is paying people that have done it and can get you where you want to go faster, right? Can't be afraid to pay ever. Masterminds, mentors, I've paid a bunch of money for them, and I'm in this position because of them. That's why I harp on them so much, but it's key. It's key to growth. It's key to everything. Real estate's the way to go, especially for all my young listeners out there. If you're in the age between 20 and 27 and you're not too happy with your job right now, you're kind of debating quitting and starting an Amazon FBA or whatever attractive things going on right now, look into real estate, and I promise you won't regret it. Trust me, I was in the same shoes you were. Same shoes. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Was real estate in the top of my head? Not necessarily. I knew I liked real estate. I knew I liked the thought of getting into real estate, but I didn't know shit about real estate. I didn't know the nuts and bolts about real estate to really say, hey, I wanted to get into real estate. I just got into real estate because the opportunity presented itself and I was ready for it. And I'm so glad I did, because it has changed my life and it will change your life as well. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, as I hope you did, as I hope you learned, as I hope you're motivated to try something new after this episode, please share this show. It's the only way I grow the show, and it's the only way I plan on growing the show. Value first. If I provided value to you, then I hope you go and share this show so more people can get this value. If you feel like this wasn't valuable at all and it was a waste of time, which I highly doubt, if you did think that, then stop listening to this podcast, because then no other episode is really going to be for you. Then don't share it, because that's how value works for me, right?